Family abandons me after accident, returns for my inheritance. Have you ever watched the people you love disappear the moment your life stopped being convenient for them? Because I have. One phone call changed everything. One accident took away the life I knew. And within months, the family who always claimed they would stand by me no matter what vanished. No visits, no support, no calls, nothing. But 3 years later, when they thought I had inherited a fortune, they suddenly remembered I existed. What happened next exposed exactly who they really were. My name is Michael, and this is the story of how losing everything helped me discover who my family truly was. 5 years ago, my life was moving exactly as planned. I was 34 years old. I owned a small construction company. Business was growing. I had a nice house, a healthy savings account, and a family I believed would always have my back. My parents lived nearby. My older brother David lived 20 minutes away. My younger sister Rachel called me almost every week. We weren't perfect, but we were close. At least that's what I thought. Then one rainy Tuesday evening changed everything. I was driving home from a job site when a truck ran a red light. I never even saw it coming. The impact was violent. Metal twisted, glass shattered, and my life split into two parts, before the accident and after it. When I woke up in the hospital, I couldn't feel my legs. At first, doctors weren't sure if the paralysis would be permanent. There were surgeries, months of rehabilitation, endless appointments, hope, then disappointment. Eventually, the answer became clear. I would never walk again. Hearing those words broke something inside me, not because of the wheelchair, but because of everything it represented. My independence, my business, my future, the life I'd spent years building. All of it was suddenly uncertain. At first, my family seemed supportive. My parents visited every day. David promised he'd help manage the company. Rachel called constantly. Everyone said we'd get through it together. But support is easy during a crisis. The real test comes later. As the months passed, the visits became less frequent, the calls became shorter. Excuses became more common. People got busy. Life moved on. Except mine didn't. I noticed the changes one at a time. My mother stopped visiting every weekend, then every month, then almost entirely. David became impossible to reach. Whenever I needed help with paperwork or business issues, he suddenly had other commitments. Rachel's weekly calls turned into monthly texts. Then silence. At first, I made excuses for them. People have jobs, families, responsibilities. I understood that. But deep down, I knew the truth. My accident had changed how they saw me. I was no longer successful Michael, the business owner, the reliable son, the brother everyone admired. Now I was a problem, a reminder that life could change in an instant, and people don't always like reminders like that. The final blow came 18 months after the accident. My construction company collapsed. Without proper management, clients left. Projects disappeared. Debt piled up. I had no choice but to close the business. I lost my biggest source of income. And strangely enough, that's when my family disappeared completely. The few remaining visits stopped. Birthdays were forgotten. Holidays became lonely. Entire months passed without hearing from anyone. I wasn't officially abandoned. That would have been easier. Instead, I was slowly erased. One missed call at a time. One canceled visit at a time. One broken promise at a time. 3 years passed, and during those years, I learned how to survive on my own. I adapted. I rebuilt. I found remote consulting work. I downsized my life. I stopped expecting help. Most importantly, I stopped chasing people who clearly didn't want to be present. Then something happened that changed everything. My great-uncle Henry passed away. He was a quiet man who rarely attended family gatherings. We weren't especially close, at least not compared to some relatives. So imagine my surprise when a lawyer called me. According to the attorney, Uncle Henry's will had been finalized, and he had left the majority of his estate to me. Not my parents, not David, not Rachel, me. The inheritance included investments, property, and savings worth several $1,000,000. I thought it was a mistake. It wasn't. Apparently, Uncle Henry had been quietly following my situation for years. He knew which family members stayed involved and which ones disappeared. His decision was intentional. The news wasn't public at first, only. A handful of people knew, then somehow the information leaked, and suddenly, my phone started ringing. The first call came from my mother, the same mother who hadn't visited in nearly 2 years. She cried during the conversation, said she missed me, said family was important, said we should spend more time together. The next call came from Rachel, then David, then cousins I hadn't spoken to in years. People appeared out of nowhere. Everyone wanted lunch. Everyone wanted to reconnect. Everyone suddenly cared. The timing was remarkable. For 3 years, silence. Then overnight, endless affection. It would have been funny if it wasn't so insulting. At first, I played along, not because I wanted revenge, because I wanted answers. I wanted to know if any of it was genuine. So I listened, and what I heard told me everything. David wanted help with a business opportunity. Rachel mentioned student loans several times. My parents discussed financial struggles they were facing. Every conversation eventually found its way to money. Not directly, not immediately, but inevitably, the inheritance sat in the center of every interaction like an unspoken guest. Then came the family dinner, the dinner that ended all doubt. Halfway through the meal, David finally said what everyone had been thinking. Family should help each other. The room went quiet. Then Rachel nodded. My mother agreed. And suddenly everyone was explaining why I should share my inheritance. Not because they loved me, not because they regretted abandoning me, because they felt entitled to it. That was the moment everything became clear. Not one person apologized. Not one person acknowledged the years I spent alone. Not one person accepted responsibility. They simply expected access to something they hadn't earned. I looked around the table, and for the first time in years, I wasn't hurt. I wasn't angry. I was disappointed, because these were the people I'd spent years missing. The people I'd hoped would come back. And now that they had, I realized I didn't actually want them. Not this version of them. I stood up, thanked everyone for dinner, and told them something they'd probably never expected to hear. Uncle Henry already gave me the greatest inheritance. They looked confused. I continued. He showed me who truly cared about me when I had nothing. Then I left. That was 2 years ago. Today, I still have the inheritance. But more importantly, I have peace. Some family relationships were never repaired. Others remain distant. And honestly, I'm okay with that. Because one hard lesson changed my life forever. People reveal their character during your worst moments, not your best ones. Anyone can stand beside you when life is easy, when you're successful, when you have something to offer. But the people who stay when everything falls apart, those are the people who matter. My accident took away many things, but it also revealed the truth. And sometimes the truth is worth more than any inheritance. If you've ever discovered who truly cared about you during a difficult time, share your story in the comments below. Sometimes life's hardest moments reveal the people worth keeping close.